right, Paige Addison. This should be really good. I'm so honored to interview you today. Successful Black entrepreneur, also in the health niche like ourselves.
Yes.
And you're here today because you've obviously transformed your life, your business, and also have your hand in your community.
Yes.
So if it's okay with you, I want to jump right in and get started.
I appreciate the spiel. That felt great. I was like, yeah, I did do that.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, perfect. So looking at some of your accomplishments, what are some of your groundbreaking accomplishments that you take pride of in your life?
That's a great question. I've done so many things within my community, but the most important ones have always been the events that I've curated. Whether it's strictly R&B, I had a series with A3C music concert. I used to do the brand management for a brand called God is Dope. And that was kind of like fresh out of college. You know, Sherrod Simpson, he believed in me as just a marketing genius from under him, which is a big deal for me.
Yes.
And we would just curate events for the city and free, come out, listen to some good music, have some, drinks, and have a great vibe, but always safe, always good energy, come as you are, authentic. And that's what I believed in. That's what was the reason why I began in the music industry and in the industries that I've gotten so deep into, just because of the fact that I was able to feel authentically myself and welcome. So that's all I love to do with my community.
Well, that's great. I know we were talking earlier about passing the aux cord. I'm very prideful with my playlist too. I'm a big music lover,
You gotta be.
Who are some of your favorite artists?
As of right now, I don't play about Victoria Monet.
All right, I can see that.
I don't.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm like, listen, y'all better give her flowers. I said that to them 3 years ago, and now look at where we are.
Wow, you saw it way earlier.
Yes,
because now she's everywhere.
Everywhere. And Janelle Monáe. I mean, I love the girls. I'm a girl's girl, so I really support everyone that I've seen go from all of their different, eras and be standing in their authenticity. I love it.
Yes.
I'm here for all of it.
And if you could choose a legacy R&B act, like who's one of your favorites?
Who?
Dead or alive?
I was just about to say. Okay, so I'm a Gemini, and Prince is I don't play about Prince.
Oh, that's a great one.
I feel like I was supposed to be born in that era.
Yeah.
Although I'm a 90s baby, I'm like, I should have just been, just somewhere with a purple coat on and a Jerry curl. I got the Jerry curl going.
Yeah, Prince is one of the greatest of all time.
Of all time.
I know for me, it was always Whitney. Since I was a little boy, I hear her voice and it's like
tears,
it's like silk,
Yeah.
And so she's definitely a missed voice.
Okay, I think I might have to play. I might have to see what your playlist talking about.
All right, we can battle it out.
Yeah,
that'll be good.
Battle of the aux cord.
Yes. All right. Well, how did you overcome the most difficult hardships you had and faced along the way?
God. I think God, my family, and my mental health has always been my focus. Yeah. Whenever I feel like I just need a break, I take it. Yeah. Whenever I feel like I need to go sit down and make a puzzle, I'll just go do it. I just get very into whatever brings me peace. Yeah. And I take it seriously. So that's what I do. I, maybe do some yoga one day or, talk with a mentor or a life coach. I think we don't really talk enough about having internships as adults. We're like, I stay a student, so I go to this person and just put it all out there and just be like, well, does that sound normal? And they're like, yeah, this is normal for an entrepreneur. This is a part of the game.
Yes.
And feeling okay with that and sitting in that and understanding that this is just very what it is for right now, but it'll be very different in a couple of days, if not weeks, if not months. So.
That's a great approach.
Yeah.
I'm a big mental health advocate. I always say we have to make mental health cool. Getting therapy and removing those blocks.
I love that. I just told somebody the other day, I said, somebody just needs to tell somebody that they're lame for not going to therapy. You just need to it's like when kids and teenagers, whenever you tell them that's corny, they start to feel looking at themselves. And I tell people that all the time. As adults, you have to kind of check your people. It's cool. For you to take time for yourself, for your family, for your health, for your mental health. It all matters.
And I think to your point, when you start talking to a therapist, you start to realize that there's definitions for what you're going through. There's whole studies on it. You think it's just you.
They done studied it.
And it's like a whole bunch of people are going through the
Just
same
like
thing.
that, yeah.
And you just feel like so human in that moment, you know?
Yep.
Like for me, that space for me is the ocean. I'm from the Bahamas, born and raised.
Okay.
So for me, whenever I want to remove mental blocks, I go kayaking, I go on a boat, I go fishing, take some music with me, and you have the nice sunny weather, blue waters, and it's just, you just feel like limitless out there.
Coasting, floating.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and honestly, that's a big thing. Like limitless is a thing. Like I'm reading The Untethered Soul, and I read it very slowly to apply. And I take that time to apply it within my relationships, within my friendships, within my family members' lives, just to make sure that like we can help each other with what ways we use to like keep going forward. And just going beyond what we know. Our conditioning is so, okay, well, you're supposed to be doing this to take your, to get better, but you have CMOS. Like,
exactly.
There are other ways that we can find to take care of ourselves.
Absolutely.
Along our journey. So.
And you're starting to see more and more countries start to, legalize herbs and mushrooms and, all these things that grows naturally out of the planet that just have all these psychedelic benefits and all these good things. So I'm glad that as a whole society, we're opening up and kind of tapping into other things. So it's looking good for us.
It's necessary.
Yes.
It's necessary. At least the ones that's choosing to learn.
Yes.
Choosing to unlearn.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. Well, how do you maintain a positive mindset and stay motivated when you're facing obstacles?
I try to do this thing where I literally engulf myself into different cultures to see how they do. We have so many, it's like first world problems, it's like you have no clue if you were to all drop your problems on the floor, who would love to pick up yours, Wow, and I think that's where I go and I just take myself out of myself. I travel, I love to travel. So when you were like Bahamas, I'm like, I do need to make sure I get over there. I just came from St. Croix and I'm just
nice.
I was playing math and everything, So I really like to engulf myself into a different culture to see how much I could learn of how they just take it easy. There's this thing they call island time, right? So it's they're like, life is good. We're late. That's why it's for a reason, So everything is for a reason. So I kind of try to remind myself by doing things like that. I try to get out of myself to find myself again, and kind of coast into that. Find a way to have a conversation with a random stranger. We smile in the same language. So, just
I like that.
if I don't speak the language, I'm like, okay. I just went to Japan not long ago. I realized how much of a peaceful people they are. What can I do to just be like, okay, let me put my phone down. Let me just take a glimpse into what other cultures are doing.
I actually just came back from Tokyo 4 weeks ago. It was my first time.
Really? So, were we over there at the same time?
We might have been. I was there for about 10 days.
Did you stay in Shinjuku? Where did you stay?
I stayed at the Amon in Tokyo.
Oh, the Amon. Oh,
yeah, it was nice. It was nice. Yeah, it was really nice. And then we took a bullet train to Niigata.
Oh, you took a bullet train?
Into the mountains.
Oh, man. You did it
so
right.
Peaceful, natural hot springs. And what I love is the respect and the cleanliness and the trees. Everything's so well manicured.
They take care of their environment. They take care of themselves through their environment. And I think it's like unlocking all these codes and just bringing it back home to your people. That's what I think has been really my sanity, what's kept me sane in it all.
How'd you feel about the fashion there? That was almost like watching anime characters.
Oh my gosh. No, I was like, where'd you get that from?
Yeah.
What store? And then I found out how cheap it was. I was like, yep, I'm moving.
Oh yeah. Some of the guys I went with all went home with kimonos and platform shoes.
You have to. You kind of have to.
Yeah.
But they have so many different styles that you kind of see okay, you guys are really being, you're waking up and putting on exactly what you wanted to.
Exactly.
It's authentic, it's stylish, it's you. you kind of can't like knock it. You're like, okay,
Yeah.
I get what y'all got going on here.
Yeah.
I respect it too. I definitely respect it.
You definitely have to make your way to the Bahamas. I'm going to sound biased, but we have the most beautiful beaches in the world. St. Croix, I've been there, and it's nice.
Listen,
But the Bahamas,
I don't knock it.
Yeah.
That was actually the first place my parents took me, to the Atlantis.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, I was a child,
Yes.
so I feel like that is the one place I have to, as an adult, experience. I love pigs,
Oh, swimming
so
with
I
them.
heard that there was like,
Yeah, swimming with the pigs. It's fun.
I want to pet pigs, so
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to go over there to do that.
Are you a swimmer? They have swimming with the dolphins too.
I'm
You're gonna skip that one.
we're not there yet.
All
you
right.
know, I'll take a little dab, but I ain't gonna swim.
Yeah, no, I hear that. It sounds like my mother. She's not going near the water. Who was someone that inspired you during your transformation journey, and how have they influenced you?
Ooh. It's so many people.
Yeah.
But I would like to say that my grandmother, who passed not too long ago, she was like a one of a kind. But I always saw how she showed up in the world. It was always so graceful. It was peaceful. It was welcoming.
Yeah.
And the smile and the hug and the eye contact that she had with you was one of those things that you just kind of like, you knew you were in a safe space.
Yeah, you feel
and I
embraced.
always, and I think for me, that way of how that she became my proxy. Like, okay, I see how you show up. I like how you show up, but I also admire and want to feel that way when people say they've been around me, like whenever I leave somebody, I want them to say, yo, she was like really warm, like, and I want to be in her presence again.
Yeah.
And I think that's what has always led me in everything I've done, like just how much of a warm person I want to feel and people to feel like for me.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually share that in common. My grandmother raised me till I was about 10 years old in the Bahamas.
What?
And she was the sweetest woman in the world. I'll never forget one day, I was coming home from school and it was pouring rain, and she saw a guy walking in the rain, but her car was a two-seater. So she sped, dropped me home, went back out there, found him, and took him to where he needed to go. And it's like, she wasn't even worried about, hey, this is a man that could hurt me, rob me. In that moment, she just wanted to be human, be of an alleviation,
And discernment. She had discernment,
Yeah.
She was discerning of the hearts that she came in contact with. And that
Yeah.
says a lot about you, So
Yeah.
I appreciate grandparents. I don't
yeah.
think like people like, I'm like, these new grandparents, I don't know what y'all got going on.
I know. I see the stuff on Instagram. Like, my grandma don't talk like
My
that.
grandma don't do that.
Yeah.
But I love that. I just love being able to take what the matriarchs that have been like, they literally put so much into us that for a reason to keep it going. So what do we do with that legacy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Be that.
I feel the same way. I lost my grandmother recently too.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
It was right after we started the CMOS company, which I only made because of her, to help her thyroids. And she would pour the jars, put the cute little packaging on everything.
Oh.
And so I almost feel like she left when she knew like we made it.
You were good.
And she blessed it, and I feel her blessings
Still here.
every day.
Yeah. And my grandmother comes to show up as a red bird all the time. I see her and I'm like, hey, Sarah, girl, what you doing? Okay. She's like, get it together, you know? And I think that's the point, when they know that we're good, when they say that, they've affirmed that over us and our lives and our parents, just to let them know, like, hey, like, don't worry about her. She good. Like, that's God's child.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You're
absolutely.
just a vessel,
Yeah.
So I think that it means a lot to me.
I think you hit the nail on the head, that we're carrying that energy and that instillment in our everyday
In
interaction
everything
with
we
people,
have.
and how we interact, how we treat people. They're with us everywhere,
Yeah.
So that's great.
Yeah.
All right. What are some of the key values or principles that guide your decision-making process as a transformer?
Well, I know for a fact I like people that truly have, they show like they have heart. So like, how you can tell, like, for example, you said your grandmother went back. Certain people would be like, I ain't doing that.
Yeah.
Like, just seeing little things, like, there have been ways that I've chosen to really peek like into people's lives, but when they don't know, like, I'm like, okay, so like, I see a homeless person on the street. You saw that we just came from eating. I'm going to give my food to them.
Yeah.
But some people would be like, you got to take care of yourself. I'm like, I don't want to work with people so much on those types of tips if you don't know that that's where I lead with,
Right.
you know, and seeing that inside of people matters to me on how I work alongside with them, how I can learn from them. It just doesn't make me, it's got to be like a like-mindedness.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes, you know, what you do in your free time matters to me, you know, so are you the person that's going to tell me to pull up to church? Or are you going to be the person that tells me to pull up to the strip club? You know what I'm saying? And it's you know, we can all have fun, but like when you see what I need, what do you say?
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
I think I look at that, which is a good balance. Like you have to have balance, but knowing what that balance looks like for you is how I want to be able to like, okay, so this is how your work ethic is. This is what you choose to do in your free time. This is, you know, they say you want to have a drink with someone that you want to work with, but are you always drinking?
Yeah,
like, like, do you know how to not, you know, do you drink water? You know, do you drink water? Are you hydrated?
Yes,
you
absolutely.
Know? So that matters to me.
No, absolutely. You know, the saying is old and true that you're the average of the 5 people closest to you.
Yes.
And, you know, monkey see, monkey do, which
Right.
is literally a scientific term because as humans, the neurons go off in our brain to duplicate what we see. So if I see a great work ethic and I see, you know, all these positive things, my brain's firing off to want to do the same thing.
Yeah. And how you keep up your relationships. So like, obviously work ethic and, you know, intelligence and how much you do your research and all of those things matter. But for me, it's like, okay, so how are your interpersonal relationships? Do you know how to keep up those relationships? Are you always the one that's falling out with somebody? It's always them. It's not you. Do you take accountability? Like those things, I think have been what I found at the core have been the best people that actually, when they cater to those needs for themselves, have been the best people I've worked with. And they stay the like same people.
Yeah,
I need that consistency at least. You know, as an entrepreneur, there's not really going to be anything consistent other than the people around you if you can.
Yes, that's great. Now, I read that you did social media management and you have this whole agency. And, you know, we have a company too, the Transformation Factory, and marketing has been such an important field that I've been in this last year, just growing everything. And so my question to you is how do you approach brands and social media pages to really bring awareness to their page and what they're doing?
Well, for starters, I always look at like when you go to someone's page and you're like, okay, what are you trying to get them to capture? What do you want them to take away? Do you want them to know that you're working on skincare? Do you want them to know that you're really focusing on what you put in your body, or are you trying to just really, what are you trying to focus on? What do you want me to leave with? And then I'm like, okay, so how can I be the person to help you in a space where I don't know what you're bringing to the table? So when I go down the list of the things that I see from what your page gives me, I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Can you give me a how-to? Like, you know, like what is the step one for what you do? Give us a glimpse of who you are. And I think that's what people forget because they're always trying to sell a product, all these things. And I ended up with my product out of just doing it on live. Like I was making an acai bowl every day. I was playing my music every day. So, pardon me. So what am I going to help you with that I bring to the table, that you bring to the table? So it's like, okay, so what would you want me to take from it? I think that's what's been big for every time I, you know, work with someone and a brand. So God is dope. It's so funny because when I first started working with Sherrod, he was like, I need to get people like models in these clothes. And I was like, well, do you wear your clothes every day? Like,
it's a great question.
Put it on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where can people, you know, be what you want to see? And I think for me, I was just telling someone yesterday, I was like, I got out of being what I wanted to see, what I want people to do, which is just make an acai bowl at home. If you can't buy mine, go do something a day to put inside of your body that feels like you're actually fueling yourself, you're getting yourself ready, you're getting yourself out of bed, that feels like a day that might not feel like you want to get out of bed. You're turning on your favorite song, you're turning on a song that reminds you of your childhood, something nostalgic, you know, something that brings a feeling out of it.
Right.
And I realized that was what was cultivating such, like, I was just doing like incredible things off of just being like, well, what do you want to see?
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
it would always work. And I was like, well, I mean, you know, I just went to college for communication,
Oh,
you
that's
know,
great.
for communication arts. And I studied rhetoric, and I studied the fact that people, it's all about how, you know, you communicate with people, how they feel like you're bringing them into your world instead of it being a, well, what do you want me to buy? Like, what's your North Star?
Right.
You know?
You know, I had a mentor that once told me when I went to school for engineering, and once I started my own business, I'm like, I didn't go to school for entrepreneurship or business. Maybe I should go back and pick up a few things. So I asked a business college professor, and he's like, don't do it. I just need you to master communications and master marketing, and you'll be wildly successful.
Yeah.
And he told me, he was like, there's an art to communicating. It's not just words, it's literally a science. And if you learn it, your negotiation skills, your relationship capital building, everything will soar.
Yep.
So it's like one of those majors that I feel is really low key, but it's one
once
of the
you
most
get
powerful
it,
ones.
you
Yeah.
got it. Like,
Yeah.
and I think also people make it harder than it is. You know, they're thinking of, okay, well, and obviously analytics matter.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
looking at who you want to be your customer and your consumer. But at the same time, if you can sell, you know, you can sell water to a well, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? You can make
Yeah.
some stuff shake,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
you gotta just feel people out. Like, if certain people are like, you know, I don't know what that is. Okay, well, if you don't know what that is, then I'm sure you like smoothies. I'm sure you like fruit.
Yeah.
Having it all in one is probably what's the best
Absolutely.
bet, you know? So
Yeah.
trying to be that way.
So based on what you are saying, I'm almost hearing the same thing my marketing team's been hounding me to do, is get in front of the camera. People want to see you, make
Yes.
a smoothie with the CMOS.
Yes.
So it's like you're already, you know, agreeing with my team already.
I ain't even know what they was telling me.
Yeah,
See,
100%. So are you cool with 9 to 5, 40 hours a week? You know?
Listen,
You know, we could use
y'all
the social
hiring?
media. We could
Y'all
totally
hiring?
use the social media.
I'm cool. I'm cool with it. What's up?
You know, I'll have my people call your people.
Call me.
Yeah, let's take it to another level.
No, and honestly, I
Yeah.
think it, like, I'm always the person that's like, what's fun?
Yeah.
You know, this is fun. Like,
Yes.
getting in front of a camera and people being able to talk with you is fun because they get to see who you are.
Yeah.
And they also get to see how much love you put in your products and how much, you know, like, I came from this container that somebody said looked like a hair product to coming up to this. And
Yeah.
I was so proud.
Yes,
and the
absolutely.
first thing I look at now is just people's packaging, because I'm
Yeah,
like, I
obsessively.
didn't know how much it took to put into it. So
Yeah.
it's like everyone can help somebody.
Absolutely.
You know, everyone can help each other if we work together within that way. So
Yes.
yeah.
Well, I mean, your packaging is great though. The colors pop out very well.
My friend from college, she actually helped me design this.
Yes.
Literally, there are different, like, so it's soulful bowls with 2 L's because you want your soul full.
All right. Okay.
You know what I'm
Play
saying?
on
Now,
words.
soul food
Yes.
is a good thing, but
Yeah.
when your soul is full,
Yeah. That's
your
even
food, you know, your belly can, you don't
like
really
that.
even got to be that full. You know what I'm saying?
I was so happy to interview you today.
Thank you so
You have an
much.
amazing story,
you.
and a lot of things that you've experienced, I have too. And I think us normalizing that this is the process, this is the things, the adversities that we go through, but you still can make it. And you can still create something that's going to inspire and follow your dreams and your whys. So it was incredible having you. Thank you
you
for
so
sharing
much
your
for
story
having
with
me.
our Transformers and being a part of our transformation series.
Thank you so much
so
for
nice
having
to meet
me.
you.
It was
Yes,
so
yes,
great.
yes.
We're going to talk.
Yes,
we got
100%.
to.
Yes.
Thank
All
you.
right.